are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Get the real story from people who know the beautiful game best. The Coaches Show, presented by Sporting Jacks with Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacy Ballum. Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 AM. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, let's talk hardball. This is River City Hardball, presented by D-Bat Jacksonville. Here's your host, Andrew Gibson.
And good Sunday afternoon, Jacksonville, and welcome to River City Hardball. We are presented each and every time that we're on here on 1010XL by D-Bat Jacksonville and D-Bat Green Cove. I'm your host, Andrew Gibson. We talk local baseball right here. It's high school, college, pro. We've got high school baseball coming up with playoffs. They're in the thick of it right now, and we're going to talk to some head coaches here on the show this afternoon. Coming up in just a few minutes, Josh Persinger, the head coach of the Clay Blue Devils. Later in the program, about 12:40 or so, Trinity Christian head coach John Murphy. We're also going to have be joined in studio in about 20 minutes by St. John's Country Day head coach Tom Lucas, and one of his studs going to Florida State, Braden Harris, will step in the studio here in a few minutes. But right now, it's our pleasure to welcome on the program Renee Burrows. She's the general manager at D-Bat Green Cove. And we're doing something pretty cool here on the show this year. We're giving away a free hour lesson at either D-Bat Jacks or D-Bat Green Cove. And Renee, we're going to bring you on as well right now to talk about Green Cove. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Tell people about, you guys I know just celebrated, Renee, the 1 year anniversary of D-Bat Green Cove. Tell people that may not be familiar with it, what you guys do, what you guys offer there at Green Cove.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, March was 1 year. It's been a great first year. A lot of what we do, sparks off of our memberships, and then, a really key piece is our lessons. They've got almost 15 instructors with a really great level of background and offerings that they each have. And so lessons is a big piece. We do a ton with our local associations for team rentals, and then obviously camps and clinics are a huge part for us as well. So we're definitely excited as we come up on summer and have those camps coming down the line. But that's a variety of what we have. And then we also do have our Rawlings and Easton Pro Shop. So, our athletes can, with their membership as well, get discounts on apparel and, gear, bats, gloves. We know it all adds up quickly in our sport.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you guys offer lessons for both baseball and softball. So that's really neat that you have options there.
Correct. Yep.
Tell people about a little bit about lessons that at D-Bat Green Cove, Renee. How do they get involved? What are some things that you guys are teaching there? I know the basics certainly, but tell people a little bit about what you offer there at Green Cove in terms of lessons.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, we have baseball and softball, and we offer all aspects. So whether you're looking for pitching, hitting, fielding, catching, we have a little bit of everything, and we have instructors with expertise in each area. And then, each instructor is going to have a little bit of their own, mold that they bring to what they present. We have some that, do some, weight training alongside that in terms of the medicine balls and just strength training type of aspect, and making sure that that's, important and worked into it, or whether they're doing heavy ball trainings with, pitching. There's just a wide variety. So, and we work with all different ages. So we have, as young as 5-year-olds that are coming in to work with our instructors, all the way up through athletes that are already in college and coming back on their breaks. So we really, have a wide variety, both of skill level offerings as well as, the depth of instruction.
dbatgreencove.com is the website. The phone number 904-863-3558. And they are open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 9, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's 9 to 6, Sunday is 10 to 6. Are those still your current hours, Renee?
Yep, they are.
And, something that's really neat that we're trying to offer to our community here this year, Renee, is a free 1-hour lesson at either Jax or Green Cove. And it was really neat. We gave away last month when we were on in March. We gave away a free lesson to a 7-year-old named PJ who had never had a lesson before. And he plays rec ball out at Jax Beach, and his dad and him were really fired up about it. And they were able to take a free hour lesson, and they were so excited and they enjoyed it so much that they signed up for more lessons after that. So that's what it's all about, right?
Awesome. Yes, it is. And one of the things that I love the most is when I get feedback from families that talk about not just the skill development of their athletes, but the confidence that has grown and just how much they love the game. And so our instructors, it's so much more than just the skill of the game. It's, they're mentors in many ways. And, that impact through the game is really significant for me. And so I love just that opportunity to facilitate that and just what we get to do at our facilities.
Renee Burrows, the GM at DBAT Green Cove, is our guest here. A final few moments here with you, Renee. And right now, we're going to do this throughout the show, but we want to let people know that you can text us today, the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Tell us your situation. What we'd like to do is we would like to give away a free 1-hour lesson good for Jacksonville or Green Cove at DBAT. Text us your information. Tell us your son or daughter. And we'd like to have somebody that's never had a lesson before. Last month, we had someone that had never had a lesson before. They're 7 years old. They loved it, and they're going to continue to do it. But what we'd like to do is right now, text us your information. If you would like your son or daughter to have a free 1-hour lesson at DBAT Jacksonville or Green Cove, tell us your information. Tell us the situation for your son or daughter. Say, hey, I'd like to have my son or daughter softball or baseball. We'd like to have them enjoy a free 1-hour lesson at Jacksonville or Green Cove for DBAT. And that's a really cool thing, Renee. We're trying to give back to the community, and that's always a cool thing.
Right, yep.
Well, Renee, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and take care. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All right, there she goes. Renee Burrows is the GM at DBAT Green Cove. And speaking of Green Cove, these boys keep on playing here in the playoffs. The Clay Blue Devils, they just swept Bishop Kenny in 2 out of 3. And right now joining us on the line is the head coach of the Clay Blue Devils, Josh Persinger, after a 2-game, 2 out of 3 sweep against Bishop Kenny. They're about to host Pensacola Escambia. But, Josh, thanks for joining us this morning. How are you?
I appreciate it. It's good to still be in it. They gave us everything that we wanted. So great team. I knew it was going to be tough, but it's good to be getting prepared for tomorrow.
Clay is coming off of a 2-game sweep, best 2 out of 3. This is new, something that hasn't been done in many years in the state of Florida for high school baseball, beginning with the best 2 out of 3 in the regional quarterfinals. Josh, how do you feel about the best 2 out of 3? You guys were able to win 2 of 3 against BK.
Yes, it's awesome. I know that it's something that we as coaches have been pushing for years and years. Every year we have the recommendations, and it's always on there. Coach Matt Cleveland out of Spruce Creek was kind of the driving force for it, kind of created a little team, and it passed in the advisory board, it passed in the ADs, and then a bunch of us went down to Gainesville and fought for it. And it wasn't an easy task. We got up there, and they fought against us, and some were on our side, and ultimately it passed. So it's been great. It's definitely different. We've had the opportunity to win that regional quarterfinal a few times, and you win it, and you're like, awesome, survive and move on. Well, that's great. And you wake up about 2 a.m. in the morning the next, and you're like, crap, we got to win another one. So it's different. And then for us, we play a lot of our games on the back end of the week. So for us to be done with games by Tuesday, because we were lucky enough to get both of them, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was just a different feel. I woke up thinking it was Friday, and it was Wednesday morning. So, a little different, but definitely enjoy it. We're excited to see round 2 tomorrow.
You mentioned, Josh, the ones that did not want to see the 2 out of 3 go through. Do you think that was primarily because of cost? Why do you think that those that opposed that one?
Yeah, money is something they always bring up any time, and I say education, but probably in all facets, money, and then also time at the field. And to me, I hear you. And I tell our guys, like, our community comes out. You know, we had 1,500 people here for the Columbia game 2 years ago. Like, you got to find a way. Like, the moments that we're giving these kids, like, just see, you know, watching them celebrate, and, you know, the grind that we have, because they're lifting in August and September, and the throwing programs, and just, you know, it's not always, you know, winning isn't beautiful, and it's not easy, and it's not nice, but, like, you know, the grind to it. But to give these kids this opportunity, like, you know, as school leaders, as community leaders, like, we got to find a way, you know. So I hear it, but it's worth it. I can tell you that.
Josh Persinger is the head coach of the Clay Blue Devils. They are getting ready to host Pensacola Escambia for the regional semifinals. 20 wins this year for Clay. They've won 6 games in a row, including 2 against Bishop Kenny. And let's not overlook that. I mean, sweeping Bishop Kenny is a big deal because, as you know, Josh, Bishop Kenny, it's a great baseball program for many, many years. How did that series go for you guys, the 2 out of 3 against Bishop Kenny?
Yeah, so obviously they had a rough start. We got on them pretty good during the season, and I know those coaches very well through the years of being a player here at Clay, and then also a young coach, and we've battled back and forth. And I said, I'm gonna see you guys in May. You know, obviously we're not in May yet, but we've always kind of said play in May. He's like, I don't know. I said, I'm telling you, you're Bishop Kenny, and growing up, like, Bishop Kenny was the bar. They were the Bishop Kenny and Bowles. You know, those were the elites in this area. Others too, but, you know, that Kenny was you know, the one that you always heard about, and to me that's not really ever changed. So you know, I'm never betting against Kenny in the playoffs. You know, they came up and, you know, had all the guys. You know, they had the scouting reports. Everybody was in the right spots. You know, we hit some solid hits, and they were right there, so they knew what they were doing. And you know, it took a walk-off home run, and I believe the 8th to beat them. You know, so it was tough. And then we got on a little earlier in the second game. Arms-wise and those types of things, we got a little more firepower than I think they did this year. So my heart rate was a little lower in the second game, but even that, like, you know, there's always a push, whether it's, you know, runners on first and second with no outs. You know, I think watching on Game Changer at home or whatever, when you're up 9-1 feels really good, but when you're sitting in the dugout, like, you're not happy until that last out, I can promise you. So it was the 7th inning, 2 outs, you know, or the 3rd out. That's about the time I felt good about it, you know. Solid ball club.
How does your strategy change, if at all, going best 2 out of 3? Because I'm thinking from a starting pitcher standpoint, do you hold your ace in case you need him for the second game, or are you saying, no, we got to win the first one, so let's put him out there in game 1? How does the strategy, you know, kind of change for you, if it does at all?
So I'm in my regular life, I'm kind of fly by the seat of my pants. In my baseball life, I can tell you that we've had our pitching lineup. If you look, Ryland threw Tuesday of every game, you know, so he was always going to throw game 1. And we play a solid schedule, as you know. We played everybody, every private school, I think, other than Bowles and UC for the most part, we played this year. And, you know, 4 teams on our schedule are top 25 in the state. So our goal, our battle cry all week is you got to go 2-1. When this ranking stuff came out, I felt like if you play a tough schedule and you go 17-8, 18-7, right in there, you basically go 2-1 every week. You got a shot. So, and then obviously, you know, with the 3-game series, you go 2-1, you got it. You know, so that's really been, you know, win the week. That's kind of been our thing. So, for the best that I can, I try to prepare for that. You know, so our guys go in game 1. We're fortunate enough to get that. You know, we're going to follow suit. I have a 2-3, but really my 2 through 4, I would feel confident could win game 2 if needed, you know, that kind of thing. So that's really it. Win the first game. I don't remember who it is, but there's an old quote: "Never save a pitcher for tomorrow, because tomorrow it might rain." So that's kind of built my career on that one.
I love that. And you mentioned, I want to talk about some of your players, Josh. Josh Persinger, the head coach of Clay, getting ready to host Pensacola Escambia in the regional semifinals of the high school baseball playoffs in 4A. You mentioned Ryland. Ryland McMahon is a future Gator, correct? I mean, he's one of your young studs. But shout out some of your players, because Ryland's just one of several guys that have really performed well for you guys this year.
Yeah, and then obviously can't forget about his brother Easton. He's our shortstop. He was on last year when we came to see you. He's had a heck of a year. Offensively, defensively, on the mound. He wants that spotlight, you know, games on the line. Cole Cardinal is as pure of a hitter that I've had in 20 years. I have a very small list of guys that I would say bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and he's up there. There's some Max Williams and Cole Eschers and Garrett Chuns. Those, that's a big, that's a small list to be part of. Merrick's had a good year as of late. He's seeing the ball well. Big league pop. It's watching him hit balls in BP, and he hit a ball against Bishop Kenny that it was almost like watching the natural, and he hits the ball and it almost hits the lights. I mean, it got out of here real quick. And then JC, only a sophomore. I believe he's leading the team in hitting now. He was the Clay County Athlete of the Week this week. Catching the arms that we have. I mean, it's hard to be a good catcher. It's hard to be a good catcher when you got a guy throwing 90 to 94 and curveballs in the dirt and stuff like that. So that side of it, but then also he's been a hit machine. LJ Martin, line drive, so I literally, I don't want to leave anybody off the table. It truly has been a team effort. Mathis comes in and shuts the door. Levi Chimura he hurt his leg last year in probably February or March and didn't touch the field, didn't get to play summer ball. We put so much weight on summer ball. Didn't really play fall ball and has emerged as probably, my number 2, and has also swung it well. Moved Lucas to the 2-hole and things have been great. P-Mac in the 9 plays a heck of a defense for us. So I would say that's been the difference, is that we've had those guys. And sometimes when you have so many good baseball players, everyone feels like they got to be the star of the show. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It means that they feel like they got to put the team on their shoulders and kind of that added pressure. We were fortunate enough, Dane Dunny has talked to our guys a few times, and that was the one thing that he really stressed was about the World Series team. He said the 24 team was actually more talented, but in 23, they truly, you got these millionaires, and it was like they were like little kids playing the game past the bat, and I really feel like we're in that zone. I think as coaches, that's where we always want to get them, play, selfless, not selfish, and that's the key to success, and any coaches listening, they know that. Everybody knows that.
Josh Persinger, the head coach of Clay, as they get set to host Pensacola Escambia in the regional semifinals. Josh, I know that it's always awesome. The environment's crazy at Clay. Invite people out to come see you guys beginning tomorrow night.
You got to come out to Clay. If you haven't ever been, you hear me say a lot about the Clay Way, and it's cool, and it's a hashtag and all that. And come on out to Green Cove and then experience the Clay Way. I promise you, it'll be something to remember.
Josh, go get him, man. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate it, man. It's awesome what you do for our area sports. We love it. I can tell you that. The coaching world is a big Gibby fans.
We appreciate Josh Persinger from Clay High School. The Blue Devils getting set to host Pensacola Escambia, as you just heard, coming up tomorrow night over in Green Cove Springs. And we will certainly be watching out to see what they do in the high school baseball playoffs as we continue. Coming up next, we've got that's 4A. Let's go down to 1A and bring on the St. John's Country Day head coach, Tom Lucas. One of his top stars is Braden Harris, a pitcher who's on his way to Florida State University, and he had one of the performances pretty much of a lifetime for a high school pitcher. We'll tell you about what he did when he joins us in studio next. This is River City Hardball presented by DBAT Jacksonville and DBAT Green Cove on 1010XL.
It's more than a game.
No matter how talented you are, it still comes down to that brotherhood of playing for one another.
1010XL. It's why we play.
Imagine enjoying the beautiful days of summer in North Florida, relaxing in your enclosed patio, free from bugs and debris. I'm Josh Molina, owner of River City Screens. We are your trusted local screen experts. We pride ourselves in our craftsmanship and our relationships, because with Florida's unpredictable weather, you want someone dependable and reliable to show up for you every time. New construction or repairs, call River City Screens. 904-923-3544.
License number SCC 131153483.
It's here. Beard's Diamonds' first ever massive sale on all diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets. Now through Sunday at 4 p.m. Save 20%, 30%, even 40%. Beautiful diamond stud earrings and gorgeous diamond tennis bracelets. Perfect for any occasion. Take advantage of huge markdowns. Best prices ever. Corporate-owned big box stores could never offer this extreme value, but locally owned Beards can. And it's happening now through Sunday. Up to 40% off. Beard's Diamonds, St. John's Town Center. Shop local. Shop Beards.
I'm just just going to cut to the chase. What you really want to know is, why buy from Arlington Toyota? Mia here. How about over 800 vehicles, one lot, 60-day exchange, and friendly credit for everyone. Plus, right now, you choose a pre-owned 2022 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till August 2025? Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, River City Hardball. Presented by DBAT Jacksonville on 1010XL.
We welcome you back here to River City Hardball on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, and it's a great pleasure to have a couple guys in the studio with us this morning from St. John's Country Day out in Orange Park. He's the head coach, Tom Lucas, to my right, and a little bit further over to my right is Braden Harris, a junior pitcher on his way to Florida State. Guys, Coach Lucas, thanks for joining. How are you?
Appreciate you having us. We're doing great.
Very good. Well, hey, it was pretty exciting. You guys were able to get a sweep against Covenant, 2 out of 3. First of all, I want to go back to 2 out of 3. I know this has been a push for coaches for a long time in the state of Florida to get that best 2 out of 3. Coach, you've been doing this for a long time. This is year 11 for you at St. John's. How do you feel about the 2 out of 3?
Yeah, no, I was strongly in favor of it, lobbied for it. I think the better teams will come out of it, and probably that my 22 team, which is the best team I've had, we got knocked out. And, that's that one game, anything can happen. And all we kept saying is, man, I wish we could wake up tomorrow and play this team again. We felt like, 9 out of 10 times we'd beat them. They did a great job in the one time. So I do like it. There's a lot of strategy involved. And so, as a head coach who likes to, try to grind things out and, be really logical about it, to me, it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I have to imagine somebody like you that's had so many great teams that didn't win it. I mean, you probably in your mind have to think, well, how many rings would I have now if we were 2 out of 3?
Yeah, I don't like to bring that up. But the 22 and the COVID year, those are definitely bitter ones. When we get there, if we get there, Fort Myers, for those teams, that'll still just be a best
That's right.
one game. So, we've lost 2 of those in the state championship game. So when you get there, it's just going to be a one game. Unlike, Georgia still has series even when they get to the Final Four in the state championship.
That's right. Braden Harris is with us as well. He's one of the top stars on the St. John's Country Day baseball team. Braden, you had a game the other night that was one for the ages. An 18 strikeout game on 80 pitches, I think it was. So let me do some quick math. I think you struck out the side 6 times. Is that pretty much what you had there?
Yeah, pretty much. 2 hits, a walk.
Okay, there you go.
Kid.
Well, Braden, tell us about that performance. 18 strikeouts. You had obviously everything working.
Yeah, it was really cool to do. I've never done something like that. And one of my goals was just first pitch strikes. I just tried to throw as many strikes as possible that game. And usually it's something I'm not thinking about too much.
Yep.
But I was just trying to get them out as quick as possible. And I think that was best for me.
Braden, what is your pitch selection? If you have 2 good pitches in high school, you can pretty much mow down a lineup. But what is your pitch selection that you go with?
It's a curveball, fastball mostly.
Okay.
And then sometimes I'll mix in a changeup because most teams, they don't really have that on their scouting report. So
right.
I think it works better like that.
Coach, as you know, if you have a couple of pitches in high school, you can pretty much navigate a lineup. But from your perspective, Coach, how do you feel about this kid sitting to your right and what his talent is?
Oh, talent is out of this world. It's kind of crazy because I'd faced him as an 8th grader in that 22 team. You know, he faced us and was like crazy impressed. Like he came over to our field in a regular season game, and I'd heard they're going to start an 8th grader against, you know, we're top 10 in the country. I'm like, dude, like we're going to run rule this team. And I mean, he competed his tail off. And so to have him, he's got electric stuff, bulldog mentality. But it's been fun. You know, I think he's grown a little bit, just getting to know each other. You know, that's kind of getting on the same page. I give him a hard time. I think the first preseason game, he shook me off like 30-something times. And so just trying to get him to understand like my philosophy and then me understanding like what he wants to do. And, you know, that's been fun. You know, we've had a really exciting year. And I don't think he hasn't pitched his best yet, you know, is what I would say. Like even in that game, you know, he's coming off the mound and I'm talking about, you know, that pitch needed to be here and just kind of getting him to understand, you know, tunneling pitches and what we're seeing from the hitters and things like that of how we're trying to attack them. And he was mad, you know, on a pitch, you know, that needed to be down, you know, that needs to be buried and things like that. So I've really enjoyed it. You know, he's, you know, first class talent, you know, great heart and everything you want in a competitor.
You've had some really good pitchers over the years. I can think of one who just won at Georgia Tech last night,
Right.
Brad Hodges. That was really neat to see. We'll get to that in just a second. But you've had some really good guys over your time. I mean, an 18 strikeout performance like that. I mean, how did you feel about that performance?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're overmatched for one thing, you know. So, I mean, when you've got a D1 possible draft kid guy, you know, throwing against a young team like that, you know, they're overmatched. So he did what he needed to do. He threw 80% strikes, you know, and that's what we told him. You know, you're just going to go after him. You know, we don't need to get cute. So it's been pretty exciting. You know, I think I'd mentioned it sometime in the game, you know, not knowing if we were going to, you know, play all 7. Brad had struck out 20 against University Christian in a district championship game his freshman year. And so we had kind of talked about that. And they're totally different. I mean, they're very similar in that they're both alpha dogs. Like they both are the man when they're out there. They don't say a lot. You know, there's not a lot. I mean, it's take care of business, but they go about pitching totally different ways. Braden actually has better command than what Brad had. And especially on secondary pitches, you know, where Brad relied, you know, a lot on elevating a fastball and things like that in high school. And he's had to learn as he's gotten to college of relying on secondary pitches. Texting with his dad yesterday, and, you know, he was throwing a ton of changeups, and that's something I kept trying to get him to buy into the whole time he was at St. John's. And so they're very similar, and as far as all their intangibles, just, you know, one's left-handed, one's right-handed, and you know, but it's been pretty cool to have some of the elite arms that we've had, and, you know, get to coach up. You know, it makes me seem like a lot better coach when you've got absolute dudes on the mound.
Yeah, he's certainly one of them. Braden Harris and Tom Lucas, the head coach, one of the star pitchers for St. John's Country Day. They just swept Covenant in the first round, the quarterfinals of the high school baseball playoffs. Now you guys are getting set to host an old nemesis, North Florida Christian out of Tallahassee. The first 2 games will be at your place at St. John's.
Yeah, so they'll come in tomorrow, well-coached team, and Braden even has some history with them because it's kind of funny in how small the baseball world is. So their head coach is Mike Posey. He's one of the best in the state. He's in the Hall of Fame, won multiple state championships. Well, his son is one of the main recruiters for Florida State and the pitching coach at Florida State. So he gets to talk to Braden quite a bit. And so, you know, I think we faced off 7 of my 11 years. You know? So, yeah, this is, you know, they've been really, really good, and we've kind of, as you know, I've been there, we've gotten and kind of taken their place a little bit, and we've butted heads a lot here of late, and so it's going to be a really good series.
Braden, I want to ask you a little bit about yourself and your pitching style. Do you model yourself after anybody that you've watched growing up? Is there anybody that you can think of? If not, it's totally fine, but I'm just curious to know, like, how you maybe describe yourself as a pitcher and where you kind of maybe picked up on some things over the years.
Yeah, not really. I just try to be myself.
Right.
Pitch what works for me, because like there'll be times where I'll throw like a bunch of curveballs in a row, and I feel like not many people do that. They'll try to switch back, or I pretty much just do my own thing.
And the selection of Florida State, tell us a little bit about that. Your recruitment there. You're a commit to the Noles as a junior. Tell us about that.
So it was like winter of my 8th grade year. I went to a camp, and this was completely different coaches at the time.
Right.
They've had a lot of different coaches. Talked to them. They liked me. I threw like a bullpen there. They liked me. I talked to them for probably about a month, and then committed like a month later after that. And it was really just the program, the history of the program, the coaches I love.
Now, when they chose Link Jarrett as the new head coach, what made you want to stick with him and his program there?
Just first time I talked to him, I could just tell. I'm like, this guy's good. Like, he knows what he's doing.
What about your conversation made you feel that way?
Like, he had a plan for me pretty much right away. Like, we like you. This is what like we want from you. And even the pitching coach, same thing. Like, they knew what they were talking about.
Well, and it's pretty cool too. I mean, just think about the amount of local talent that's at FSU right now. You got Lodi's from Bartram Trail. You got Max Williams from Clay, Hunter Carnes from First Coast. I mean, I don't know if that played a factor at all, but it's just neat to think about all the guys that are local that played here.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
And that's pretty cool too, Tom, to see all those guys at the next level. It's Florida State, the example we're talking about, but so many guys from this area are playing at that next level, which Braden's going to do.
Yeah, no, it's been great. The guys you named, like I coached 2 of those guys, and Max Williams and Alex Lodice. But just getting to know that coaching staff, Link Jarrett's probably one of the smartest college coaches in the country, maybe of all time. Like, he's incredibly intelligent head coach. And then I got to listen to a presentation that Micah Posey did, and just blew my mind away. When he came in, you think about Florida State and the level they've been at, and that coaching staff has just raised the game, as far as all the stuff they do with technology. Braden's going to a really, really good top program.
And speaking of your guys playing at the next level, how cool was that to see Brad yesterday?
Yeah. So I didn't get to watch a lot of it. I was coaching some travel baseball, but, texting with his dad and been following along. He's coming off of a elbow injury a year ago. And so it's been a year of rehab, and he had a really good freshman year that ended with him pitching in the College World Series. He looked like he was going to be a Friday or Saturday night guy for Virginia his sophomore year, and then to have an elbow injury was a setback for him. And so I know the work he's put in to get back. And so really excited for him. I was out at UNF on Friday night because Jordan Taylor with Stetson, they're in town, and I had to leave. It was past my bedtime. But I think when I left, the past Spartan hitters had like 7 hits in the game. So it was really cool to see, and just texting different guys all over the place you kind of feel like a proud dad of whether they're Dodger guys that I've coached or St. John's Spartan guys. A lot of guys all over the country.
Well, and UNF's got a bunch too. I mean, Connor and Finn Howell and Seth. There's a bunch of them over there too.
James Oman, Jacob Thomas. There's a lot of guys there.
Man, UNF's got a bunch. I was thinking, I knew there were a couple, but there's more than a couple there, which is cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. They played South Carolina this past week in a midweek, and it went 2-2 into the 9th, and the 2 RBIs were Spartan hitters. So I tweeted something out like former Spartans 2, South Carolina 2. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Final few moments here with Braden Harris, Tom Lucas from St. John's Country Day. They're about to host the regional semifinals of the high school baseball playoffs against North Florida Christian coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at our place.
Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at your place in Orange Park. And I know the environments there are awesome. I mean, it's going to be fun tomorrow night, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's going to be really exciting. I think we're well prepared. They're going to be well prepared. Like it's going to be 2 really good teams, and that's what I tell the guys. We set up our schedule like that.
Yep.
If we play well, I think we're going to win. We play bad, this team is very capable of beating us.
And
so it's going to be a really good atmosphere.
That's the way it goes down as you get further and further in the playoffs. If you play bad, anybody you play can beat you. That's for
Absolutely.
Sure. Final thing, and I know it's tough to compare, but like you guys won the state championship last year. How do you feel about this team as they are now compared to where your team last year was at this moment?
They're 2 totally different teams, and this team has had to kind of get their own identity. That team had a lot of firepower in the lineup,
right?
Where this team, I think we have to have more professional at bats, not giving at bats away, not just looking to launch home runs. We've got to put more things on. Of course, having Braden on the staff, is a dominant arm. We didn't have that last year. I mean, we had good arms, but not ACC, weekend starter type arm. So that's another part of it. He's undefeated. I mean, he's beat Clay and Creekside and Providence, and so we feel pretty good, when you have that kind of guy. And then we're going to rely on some younger guys that are going to have to step up as far on the mound for us this year. So it's going to be good. I mean, I like this team. They've gotten a lot better. I would say where we were the first 2 weeks to where we are now. And I think we're peaking at the right time.
Now, will you throw Braden tomorrow or the next game?
We're throwing Braden tomorrow. There's no secrets about it. I have a dude and I'm going to throw him. And, so that's kind of how we've, I think there's some people try to play secrets with it and stuff like that. And I've always told other coaches that ask my advice, you always want to throw your best, to me. And I never want to lose and feel like, man, I just had something, I should have thrown it. And so, I've got a guy and I'm going to throw him and let's see what you do.
Yeah. I always feel like you got to win the first one to get to the second one, right? I mean, you can't just hold your bullet for the next day because it might not be a next day,
Right.
Tom Lucas, Braden Harris, both from St. John's Country Day. Braden's on his way to Florida State. And we'll see where St. John's goes after a state championship last year. You guys got another terrific team again. Thanks so much for joining us, Coach. We appreciate it. Braden, thank you. And we'll wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow night.
I appreciate you having us.
All right, Tom Lucas, Braden Harris from St. John's Country Day. They'll play North Florida Christian beginning tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, regional semifinals of the high school baseball playoffs in 1A. And when we come back, we're going to talk to another head coach from the area that's still playing. The Trinity Christian Conquerors have got a loaded team, and we're going to talk about it with John Murphy, the head coach of Trinity. They will have a local matchup coming up tomorrow night against Episcopal. We'll talk about that and more when we return on River City Hardball on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
One man, one hammer. One place to hear it drop. Hammer Time with Hayes, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
Driven by Southside Kia. Online at SouthsideKiaJax.com on 1010XL.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and it's always great when you can replace a problem with a promise. And let me get right down to it. When it comes to Chad and Sandy and selling your home, here's a promise that you can count on. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Now, more. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though, and hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize hassle is the key. Those expert agents, and I'm recommending them to sell your home, Chad and Sandy Newman. There have been lots of you out there on the First Coast who are taking advantage. Take David and Heather in Fox Ridge. This is out in Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights to get closer to family, away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. What you hear is true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. Call the local experts I trust and recommend to sell my home and yours. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200. ChadAndSandy.com.
The NBA playoffs are here, and there's no better place to catch the action than Hurricane Grill and Wings. With slam dunk specials like $3.75 Miller Lite drafts, plus fresh, never frozen wings in over 30 flavors, and big screens everywhere. This is your home for all the games. Handcrafted cocktails, bold flavors, big plays. Don't just watch the games, experience them at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Hey, I'm Chase Elliott, and you're listening to NASCAR on 1010XL Jack Sports Radio.
NASCAR excitement on 1010XL is brought to you by Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians make the right connection. Some people call it X. What? Some still call it Twitter. Okay, I got it. Whatever you call it, it's the best place for up-to-the-minute Jags coverage from 1010XL.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent accidents and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, River City Hardball. Presented by D-Bat Jacksonville on 1010XL.
They are perhaps the most talent-rich baseball team in the Jacksonville area. They've got D1 guys from top to bottom. They are the Trinity Christian Conquerors, and joining us right now on the line is the head coach of Trinity, John Murphy, joins us after a 2-game sweep of Tallahassee Maclay. Coach, appreciate your time with us this afternoon on River City Hardball, presented by D-Bat Jacksonville. How do you feel about your squad right now after the 2-game sweep against Maclay from Tallahassee?
Yeah, absolutely. The playoffs are always an exciting time of year. It's kind of what the boys look forward to all year. I got to play against a really good Maclay team. They were really well coached and just fundamentally sound. They gave us everything we could handle in that first game. Ended up finding a way to win 3-2. Obviously had Aaron Watson on the mound who threw the ball really well, just competed, was in the strike zone attacking, did a great job, and our defense was able to play well and got some hits when we needed them. And then the second game, we were fortunate enough to kind of open up a little bit of a early lead, and Ethan Wheeler ended up going complete game for us. So just got really good pitching there in the early goings, which always helps in the playoffs whenever you have your guys that step up for you on the mound.
Well, and you've got two absolute studs there, and Aaron Watson and Ethan Wheeler, two guys that are going to go play at the next level. And, you know, I would think there's probably some whispers going on right now about Watson in the Major League draft, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
how do you feel about those two guys just handing the ball to guys like Watson and Wheeler?
Yeah, as a coach, obviously you have a great feeling when you can hand those guys the ball. Not only, you know, the stuff is off the charts for both those guys, the way that they are able to go out there and, you know, both throwing in the 90s and doing that, but the way that they compete, I think, really is what gives us confidence as a team. They're going to be in the strike zone. They're going to make pitches. They both hold runners really well. Just make it really tough to beat them, and they're not going to give you anything on that side of the game. And so we have a ton of confidence anytime we're handing the ball to those guys.
And for those that don't know, Watson on his way to Virginia, Wheeler on his way to the University of Florida. And I heard, and Amelia, I'm going to ask you because you can confirm this for me, but I heard that Watson was throwing 97 at the end of one of those two games. Was that true?
Yeah, so the Maclay game, he ended up going complete game, 7 innings, and I think he got up in the low 90s pitch count-wise. It was his 92nd or 93rd pitch of the game. He had a 2-2 count, the last batter of the game, and he let one loose, and we all it was a called strike 3, kind of looked at each other like, man, that felt pretty firm. We don't have our own radar guns or anything, but I think there's 15 to 20 scouts at the game, so I texted one of the guys after the game and said, hey, what was that last one, just out of curiosity, and he sent me back that it was a 97 to finish off the game, kind of on the outside corner for a strike, which is also impressive, right? You know, sometimes guys are throwing these numbers and might be all over the place, but he painted a perfect strike at 97 in the game.
No, you got to love that. And the adrenaline after throwing 97 for strike 3 at the end of the game, that had to be pretty awesome to see, right?
It was really cool. He kind of, let out some emotion there at the end. Obviously a huge playoff win for us and making a big pitch in a big moment. The tying run was on second base at the time, so we needed every bit of it.
John Murphy is the head coach of Trinity Christian. They've got an incredible squad. I mean, you guys are loaded pretty much throughout the entire lineup. We're sitting here talking about pitching, but, I mean, throughout the lineup, you guys have a 1 through 9 that is very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've just been trying to teach the guys and preach to them, really, just taking team at-bats all year. We're blessed to have, like you said, 1 through 9 guys that can swing the bat. And so we kind of talk about passing the baton to the next guy, right? That you don't have to be the one that hits the 3-run homer. There's a guy behind you that can take a good swing and take a good at-bat as well. So try to take a quality at-bat, swing at the right pitches, and if we're able to do that and pass it along, we're going to be really successful as an offense. And more times than not, someone's going to come through and either split a gap or get a big hit or do something to help us get on the board.
Trinity Christian's won 25 games this year. They've won 4 games in a row, Coach, coming in after a 2-game sweep against Tallahassee Maclay. And that leads me to my next question I was going to ask you, Coach, and that is the best 2 out of 3. How do you feel about it as a head coach? I know there was a lot of momentum from coaches that they wanted to see that get done. How do you feel about the 2 out of 3?
Yeah, we really like it. I think as a coach, you like it because, if you end up getting beat, there's really no excuses to make. if a team is able to beat you 2 out of 3 times, then they just were the better team. And that's just the reality of the situation. Sometimes baseball is a funny game, and in one game, some weird things can happen. Maybe ball doesn't bounce your way, or, call here or there, whatever it may be, that you can sit there and dissect in your head over and over again. But if a team beats you 2 times out of 3, then I think it's tough to argue with the fact that they just were the better team and they deserve to advance.
Coach, we've talked about a couple of guys already. Ethan Wheeler on his way to Florida, Aaron Watson on his way to Virginia, perhaps the draft this summer. That's definitely a possibility down the line. But give us a couple other names from Trinity that you've seen this year that have really stepped up in a big way for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you mentioned some of the offensive guys, and we already talked about Aaron and Ethan on the mound, and Ethan's had great at-bats this year, too. He's been hitting right in the middle of our lineup, but the top of our lineup, Aiden Arnett, has just had great at-bats for us. He's going to Virginia Tech. You mentioned, Brady Harris kind of hits there near the top for us, too. Jordan Martinez is LSU commit for us that has unbelievable power. The quality of at-bat he's been taking, and his defense has been off the charts. Tyler Ellis is a two-way guy for us going to Florida, a left-handed pitcher that can get in the low 90s and just takes great at-bats. Parker Lowe's kind of held down shortstop for us, another LSU commit. His defense has been really high-end, and same deal. He'll take a quality at-bat for us right there with some serious power in the middle of our lineup. And then Chris Reale's our UNF commit, who's another two-way guy who can come out of the pen for us and get us some big outs and put together some at-bats. He had a huge 2-out, 2 RBI hit for us against McClay to kind of get us going in the first inning the other night. And so, those guys really have been huge for us. One guy that stepped up for us, our catching situation. So Gage Petrutz is an Alabama commit for us. He's been catching for us. Then we have Braden McKee behind the plate, who's a Flagler commit. Both of those guys are actually injured right now. And so Merrick Beamish, who really was the primary pitcher for us all year, has actually stepped up behind the plate and has just been nails for us here, handling our staff. And he's been huge for us here these last few games.
So I just heard Florida, LSU, Alabama. I've heard a lot of really good D1 programs right there. John, how many guys in your 1 through 9 are D1 commits at this moment?
So when we're fully healthy, 7 of the 9 are Division I commits, and then Braden McKee is a Flagler commit, and then Gerard Flowers is only a sophomore, and I think he's got a chance to be a Division I player as well. With the new recruiting cycle, he will be able to talk to schools essentially next fall. But I think he's got a chance to be a Division I player as well. He's a super talented kid, played second base for us all year, made a ton of plays, really athletic, and do a lot of different things for us, a really dynamic player.
So when you're at full strength, 7 of your 9 are D1 guys. I want people to understand that's not normal. I mean, that's pretty rare for those kind of guys to be at that type of level, but that just speaks to the quality of talent that you guys have there at Trinity Christian. Final few thoughts here for you, John. Episcopal's coming up. This is going to be a tremendous 2 out of 3. Tell people about this matchup.
Yeah, Episcopal is a great team. Obviously, Nick James over there does such a good job. I might mess their record up, but I think they've only lost 5 games all year, so there might be 22 or 23-5 coming into this, and you don't accidentally win that many games. They play the game the right way. They've got Dominic De Loretto on the mound, who just had a great outing against Providence last week, struck out 13 as a lefty. He's been up to 91, 92, mixes it up, does a really good job. He's going to give us everything we can handle and then some. And they've got some righties as well that are all in the upper 80s, touching 90. They just have a really strong pitching staff over there. So it's going to be quite the challenge for our guys showing up and seeing if we can find a way to scratch some runs against those guys. And their hitters always do a great job of putting the ball in play and making things happen on the offensive side. So we're excited and looking forward to the challenge that they're going to bring.
According to Max Preps, I've got Episcopal at 22-6. They swept Providence in their first quarterfinal games, but these are going to be some great games coming up. Episcopal and Trinity Christian. Tell people when they can watch you guys and tell people to come on out to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Monday and Tuesday night at Trinity at 7 p.m. If we end up splitting those 2 games, we'll be Thursday at Episcopal at 7. So, but for sure, Monday and Tuesday at Trinity at 7 p.m. We'd love to have some guys come out and watch some really quality high school baseball.
Well, and John, last thing, that atmosphere is going to be awesome. I mean, it really is. I mean, Jacksonville area schools, I think there's 10 still playing. I mean, you could probably, if you include like, Sewanee and some of the other ones, which I don't because they're not Jacksonville. But like, if you think about the area schools that are still in it, there's like 10 left. And you guys, and you and Episcopal are 2 of the 10. I mean, that's cool. And that's really neat to see Jacksonville schools going at it to eventually, hopefully, make a state championship run.
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to the talent here in Jacksonville, the quality of players, the quality of coaching throughout the city. Our district alone this year was just so competitive, and I think there's still 3 teams from our district that are still playing and got a chance to get to the Final Four with us, Episcopal and Bishop Snyder. And like I said, just a testament to what a quality job the coaches in this area do.
It's phenomenal. The baseball here is ridiculous. That's a major reason why we do this show, to highlight those facts. And John Murphy, from the head coach of Trinity Christian. Hey man, you got a terrific squad pulling for you guys. Regardless, this is going to be a fun series with Episcopal. Thanks for a few minutes today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, John Murphy, the head coach of Trinity Christian, spoke with him earlier this morning, and glad to bring that to you here on River City Hardball, presented by DBAT Jacksonville and DBAT Green Cove. We appreciate his time. Also, thank you to Tom Lucas and Braden Harris from St. John's Country Day. That interview brought to you by Russ Voris, State Farm agent in Orange Park and also in Jacksonville Beach, and also by Serafina's Pizza. Check them out. Racetrack Road. In fact, we gave away $25 a Serafina's Pizza gift card to Braden Harris as he left here the studio, as a congratulations to him and his team for just being outstanding. Serafina's Racetrack Road, it's the best New York style pizza in Jacksonville. Picked up a pie the other night, and it's just phenomenal. So you got to check them out. Serafina's Racetrack Road here in the Jacksonville area. And of course, we want to thank our title sponsor, DBAT Jacksonville, DBAT Green Cove. To begin the show, we had Renee Burrows. She's the general manager at DBAT Green Cove. And we're giving away a free 1-hour lesson here at the end of the show. I just got a couple texts in. Hello, my name's Casey, my son Harper and Hayden. They're midway through their first season. We've been at DBAT once before, but they have not had the opportunity to get a lesson. I'm sure they would love it. Right now, they're just excited about making contact. And I love this text. And so I'm going to give this particular texter the winner. 698, you're getting that 1-hour free lesson to DBAT Jacksonville. And one of your sons, maybe both. Maybe we can work something out where we get 2 of them in there. I'm sure we could. Hayden and Harper, congratulations to Casey and his sons. They're going to get that free 1-hour lesson at DBAT Jacksonville or DBAT Green Cove. And, it's something that's, cool that we like to do here on River City Hardball, to try to give back to the community, give these guys and girls. By the way, I mean, softball is also included. I mean, they train baseball and softball players over there at Jackson Green Cove. So once again, congratulations and thank you to Casey Hicks. He's the winner, 698, texted in earlier this afternoon. He's going to get that 1-hour free lesson to DBAT Jacksonville or DBAT Green Cove, and we appreciate their sponsorship as always. And as we finish up here today, once again, want to thank our guests that we had on the program today. Josh Persinger, the head coach of Clay. The Blue Devils are hosting Pensacola Escambia coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock over in Green Cove Springs. We also had Tom Lucas, the head coach of St. John's Country Day. Him and his Florida State pitcher commit, Braden Harris, joined us. If you missed it, in studio here, Braden struck out 18 the other night against Covenant in a 2-game sweep in the quarterfinals for St. John's. They're getting ready to host North Florida Christian tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And then we also had John Murphy, the head coach of Trinity Christian, as they get set to host Episcopal. That'll be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You still got West Nassau still in it. You still got so many other schools that are still vying for a state championship here in the Jacksonville area. You've got St. Joe is still playing. University Christian is still playing. Creekside had a huge victory last night to continue their season. And there's just so many different ones. I mentioned there's at least 10 area schools that are still playing ball, and that is just awesome to see that the area talent in this Jacksonville community is really unbelievable. I mean, you can talk about South Florida and all the different type of talent that you might see down there. But North Florida is each and every way has just been outstanding. So thank you to Sam, who's also producing the program today. And we want to thank all of our guests that joined us here on River City Hardball 1010XL and 92.5 FM. That's going to do it for us today. Our next show is coming up in the month of May. We like to do this show once a month. So congratulations to Casey, the winner of the free hour lesson from DBAT Jacksonville. That's going to do it for us. So long and have a great Sunday, everybody. And keep remembering that we're going to be back with you in May for River City Hardball on 1010XL.
Before the picks come in, 1010XL will be all over the draft with every angle and option. 1010XL's draft coverage is brought to you by First Coast Recyclers and Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive.